Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's been maybe 2 months since I posted a video. This one should be a fun one, a short one, but fun one. I have been doing stuff over the last 2 months, just haven't been filming it so much. I put in some 240 volt circuits, 3 of them in the garage here to run welding equipment, plasma cutter, air compressor, stuff like that. And as part of that exercise, got this little dinky portable welding table, and then decided, well, I need to mock up something here to hold a couple types of welding rod and some tools to the side of the table since the table's so small. And the idea here is that I'm reusing some stuff that is left over from previous activity that was either on or off the channel. The unistrut that we're going to use here is left over from when we put the tire mount on the underside of the trailer back there. Feel free to watch that video. This conduit, this is Schedule 80 conduit, was used to run the circuit to the front here. So I have some left over. We're going to go over all these parts, but I'm just using some leftover stuff. If you're liking the content on the channel, please do like and subscribe. But this content is a little different than what we've done in the past, but we'll probably, I don't know, evolve into some of this welding content, because we do need to put together the trailer hitch mount, or not the trailer hitch mount, we need to put together the winch mount that goes on the trailer. And we need to use the welder to do that. The whole trailer exercise, we didn't use a welder for any of the stuff that we did in that series. There should be a playlist on the channel if you want to watch that whole series, but the last thing we need to do to the trailer is add the winch to it. But in order to add the winch, I wanted to weld up and fabricate a winch mount holder that you can attach and detach. So that needs to get done with a welder, so hence a little bit of welding content here today. I don't think I might have mentioned it or not mentioned it, but this is 1.5" pipe. This is 60-13. This is 70-18. The exercise we're going to do at the end is simulating running some tack welds with the 60-13, and then simulating running the cover bead with 70-18. You will need both rods in real life to do that kind of exercise where you're tack welding with one and then doing cover beads with the other one. So just kind of mocked this up because I had the parts and it seemed like something fun to do. Plus they're kind of airtight in the end. The 70-18 is sensitive to moisture. You could probably put little moisture packets in here if you wanted to before you closed it up, but you get the point. Anyway, let's get to figuring out how to put that together with some leftover parts. Then at the end, I'll weld something, and I don't know, you guys can shit all over how I weld if you feel like it, but I'd be remiss to say that it's going to come out nice. Probably. Guess you have to watch till the end. If you like content, do like and subscribe. Let's get to putting this all together. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'm going to try to go over what I used to make this, and if we actually look at it real quick, you can see that it fits about 5 pounds of rods. This is like 40 rods or so. I counted them before I got them in there. They fit in there pretty nice. And then you just kind of snap it back on, and you can close it all the way up, right? And then we're going to mount it to the super strut using the spring steel nuts that you can get at the store. They generally, right there, the spring steel nuts generally come in a bag. Get a whole bag of them, and then a bag of like 5. And then after you say cut your super strut to the length, you can just stick them in, and they just kind of spin in place. There is a angle to them, as you can see. You want to spin towards the round, right? We'll put one in a minute, but I measured it to be the width of my table. Okay, so the measurements on this. So the top portion is, well, let's just look at our picture, right? It's our handy dandy picture. So the top portion is a piece of pipe that's 5 9/16 in length, because 1 1/16 slides into the coupler. Same thing with on this side, 1 1/16 will slide into that coupler. So this one needs to be 7 1/16. 6 inches will be exposed, and roughly 1 1/16 will slide in, and then 4 1/2 inches will be exposed, and 1 1/16 will be into the coupler, right? So to do this, I used just some scrap leftover 1.5 inch conduit that I had from when I put, you can't see it, but there's a welding outlet right here. Two more welding outlets back there by the panel, and there's a conduit that runs along the floor that you can't see because it's behind scaffolding and all sorts of other stuff. But I had some extra pipe left over, so I was like, I'm going to use this pipe for something. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one to the 5 9/16 first. So we can go ahead and measure 5 9/16. And so 5 1/2 plus 1/16, right? And then spin it a little, just so 5 1/2 and then 1/16, just so that when you line the blade up, unless you're using a chop saw, it'll just be easier. 5 1/2 plus 1/16, it'll just be easier to see where you're kind of going in. Go over here to the trash can and cut this off. Measure one more time, because I always measure twice, cut once. 5 9/16. So I go over here. Probably should put some safety glasses on, but so that's cut straight through there. That's our residual. Blow that out. See what we got. 5 9/16. Okay, so that's the one part, and that will go onto this guy here. We'll glue him in a second, and then he gets a cap. The bottom guy we need to cut to 7 1/16. So let's use the side we just cut. 7 1/16. 7 1/16. So 7 1/16. Rotate it a little. 7 1/16. Rotate it just a little. 7 1/16. Remember, when you're cutting, don't take the dots. Take to the side of the dots. So you want to be to this side of your dots, because otherwise you'll shave off your 1/16 that you care about. So go over here, cut this guy off. This part is junk, don't care about it. This part's the part we care about. So I left the dots. Okay, and then we're going to glue these all together now real quick. So take your electrical conduit cement. Probably need to get a napkin real quick just to make sure we don't make a mess. And here's a napkin. So take your conduit cement, brush it off a little bit. Let's take the cut side. Some on there, some in there. Put this back, push it together, twist it to make sure it spreads even, and then if you don't want it to be hanging off the edge, you can just wipe off the residual. There's one side. Do the other side. One side, do the inside, put that back in there, twist it together, wipe it down. Okay, now because we don't want too much on the inside, just wipe the inside real quick, seal it in there, that's it. See anything in here? Yeah, just a little booger. Wipe the booger. Okay, so let those dry for a second. So you might see that I have these little rubber grommets, and these are because I bought screws that were too long. I bought some 1-inch screws, and I need them to be about a 1/2 inch. So I ended up just spacing them off because I don't feel like going and getting more screws. And you know, it gives it a little springiness, but it's fine. Okay, so let us glue the caps on real quick. So you got to glue your caps on. Same process, except for the caps, I won't rub it on the inside. I'll just rub it around the edge and then on this part. This is a test cap from the plumbing section. You could probably get a rounded one if you wanted one. I got flat ones from the plumbing section, but you can get whatever ones you want. I wanted flat ones so I could just set it like that and it would be flat. But some people put the rounded cap on there. But then you can't set it down like that because it's rounded. So do this real quick. Go around the edge, move the top, put the cap on. Okay, wipe it so we don't have a bunch of glue everywhere. Oops, got some glue on me. Okay, so now we've got that done. See how we did? They should go together like that. Okay, give me a minute, let me get some other stuff. Okay, so I took a second and cleaned some stuff up. So this is our one with rods in it. This is our one with no rods in it that we let dry for a second. And as you can see, they're basically the same length. I think this one's off by a C hair. It's off by a C hair on the top because I guess I took the line on the top. Oops. But it doesn't really matter because when you twist this open and close, you can make them the same height. All right, so now I've got two of these, and we need to attach them to our piece of super strut. So as I was saying, you just kind of take this and figure out where you want it to be. I just want it to be on the end. And see how the edge is rounded here and rounded there? When you push this in, it spins into place and then locks. So now it's locked. I'm just going to put it between those two. Then I've got my two pieces towards the end. I've got the one I've already got a screw in, and you'll see what I mean. You can just screw the screw down into there. If you had 1/2 inch screws, you wouldn't need the rubber spacers because it would just go tight into there. But I don't feel like going to the store and getting a screw that's a little shorter. So as you can see, it's got a little jiggle to it, but I'm not too worried about that. And we got to do the next one. So then we'll take this apart, put that there, put this through, put two little rubber spacers on there, and screw it in. Okay, so that's screwed in. Okay, so now what we want to do is attach those to it. So got our empty one first, short one to the top, Note, there's a square side and a round side. The square side needs to go into the square side. These don't have to be massively tight because the point of them, they're not going to fall out. You can tighten them down if you really want to. Here's our other one. So slide it in. So what do I do with that screw? There's the screw. Put screw in. Square side, remember. Square side. Round hole. Okay, next. Let's swap tables real quick, but as you can see, I'm going to put it on this table here at the end so that I can just pull rods out when I'm welding. So let's get the table swapped so we can do that. Okay, so why did we do this? We got our 6013 and we got our 7018, and we're just going to show an example of what one might normally weld that requires two sets of rods, right? So we're going to do some tack. We're going to pretend like we're tacking something, like pretend I had a T joint I had to do, but we're not going to put the T in here. We're just going to pretend we're going to tack some stuff with 6013, and then after we have our tacks in, we'll say ½ inch, ¼ inch apart. Then we're going to switch over to some 7018 and run a bead across those tacks, a cover bead across those tacks, right? So to do that, the first thing we're going to do is draw a straight line. So we put our beads on a straight, and then let's see, let's put them. It's not that great a chalk, but put them every. Let's put them every inch as an example. Okay, so every inch. Alright, so this is the favorite part of the internet, right? Where you get to watch a guy weld something, and then you get to shit all over how he welded it. Right? Okay, so we ran our line. We have our line right here. Got where we're going to tack. The welder's on in the back. I was talking about there's a welding circuit up here, a 240 volt circuit back there to allow me to weld stuff if I want to outside, and then there's a 240 volt circuit towards the back to allow me to weld more stuff inside or run the air compressor or whatever. Did that over the winter time when you didn't see me posting any videos. All right, so I'm gonna put some safety glasses on and then we're gonna do this. Safety glasses. You should always put safety glasses on even if you're got a hood on, because you never know. Spark might come up under there and get you in the eye. Definitely happens. So, all right, and then I guess I'll cover this a little bit. So we got a rod, right? Take a rod out. I got about 5 pounds of 6013, and there's about 4 pounds of 7018. These are both 1/8 inch rods. As you can see, I can put my chipping hammer over here. I can put my wire brush over there. Works out kind of nice. This table, not perfect, just a cheapy table. It just allows me to do what I want when I want to. All right, so let's see how we do today. Okay, so we tacked some beads, right? Scrape those off real quick. Tactor beads. Oops. Probably should close that real quick. Tactor beads. Okay. As you can see, nice uniform beads. So now the next thing we got to do is we got to run a line, right? Which you would normally do. You could do it with the 6013 rod if you wanted to, but in the end you're going to cap it with something like a 7018. So we're going to go ahead and cap this with a 7018. So, see how we do. This is generally where the internet shits on you. So, let's see if it strikes. Oh, we do have to turn the amp up. This is at 100 amps. This rod needs more amperage to run a good bead, so I'm going to turn it up to like turn it to 120. So we turned it to 120. It was on 100 for the 6013. We're going to run a 120. We're going to run a 120 on the 7018. By the way, you saw I whipped it right at the end and the spark went down. That is so that the tip doesn't have a bunch of slag on the end of it and it restarts easier. So, let's see how we did. Let's turn it off. Probably hear me a little better if I turn it off. And let me grab a grinder. It's going to be easier. All right. See how we did. I wouldn't say it's perfect. It's all hot. Hold it with a pair of pliers so we don't burn ourselves. But let's see how we did for the camera. I don't know if that you can see that, but it's pretty good. The end's got a little bit of a nipple, but could just see I didn't scrape it enough, but you get the point. So you can easily switch between the two different rod types, or you could have more rod types, and it just gives you a little more flexibility. That was the whole point in this exercise, I suppose. So if you like the content and are enjoying the channel, please do like and subscribe. I will probably be doing some more welding content as time comes along. I definitely need to weld up the winch mount for the trailer back here in the garage. It's going to be removable, and it's going to make it so that you can put it on there, use it when you want, pop it off, store it. It's going to be pretty nice. Probably be doing that in the next couple weeks here, and that'll come to the channel. And I did get an engine for the snowblower. If you guys have been watching, I got a replacement engine for the snowblower, so we're going to we're gonna repower the snowblower that we had some failures with over the summer. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.